What do you think he's going to say?
I don't know, Reuben. So many people told us we're wasting our time. Reuben, I really hope he's going to see our vision.
Yeah, he would be an amazing addition to the website.
Hi, Shimon, Reuben. Come in, please, guys. Great to see you guys. Come inside. That's amazing. And you really think people are going to watch Torah classes on the internet all around?
I'm not sure, but I really think it's going to work.
I'll tell you the truth. I'll be there right with you because there's nothing like spreading Torah, and you might have a great idea.
Baruch Hashem, remember this place?
Yeah, so
It's really amazing.
We used to
Saturday
have
night.
hundreds of people over here on Motzei Shabbat, Saturday night at the kosher movies.
It's over here, big projector screen, hundreds of people.
This is where Torah Anytime was born, right here in Beit Gavriel. All those lectures that took place here that changed my lives and the lives of so many, Baruch Hashem, we were zoche to start videoing it, to start capturing it, and to spread it with the entire world.
They are influencing hundreds of thousands throughout the world.
They provide a light to the entire Golus.
This is really something new that the world really didn't have before.
Torah Anytime is really one of the biggest game changers in Klal Yisrael. Over 12 million hours of Torah learning.
It is quite astonishing how much Torah is learned.
What is the key to their success? Kishmoi Kenu, Torah Anytime.
My name is Shimon Kolyako,
And I am Reuben Kolyako.
and Baruch Hashem, we're the founders of Torah Anytime. And we're from the former Soviet Union in a country called Uzbekistan. And since the former Soviet Union was under communist leadership, unfortunately our parents and grandparents did not know much about Torah and mitzvahs. So we immigrated to this country in 1979 when I was 2 years old. Naturally, I went to public school. We knew we were Jewish, we knew some traditions, and that was pretty much it. My parents asked me if I would like to go to a special program called Queen's JEP. It was a special program designed for Jewish kids who go to public school.
I remember that was actually the first time I was introduced also to really anything Jewish. We just learned, they taught us, and we just got familiar and got our feet wet with anything Jewish.
A lot of basics, just a lot of things that just the foundation, the ABCs of Judaism. And this went on for, I think, well over a year into the 4th grade. During December of my 4th grade, my parents asked me, they said, would you like to go to a yeshiva? I'm like, yes, sign me up, I want to go. It was Yeshiva Institute, it was called at the time, led by Rabbi Zalman Deutscher. Now it's called Yeshiva Primary, still led by Rabbi Zalman Deutscher. He should live and be well.
Shimon used to go home, whatever he learned in the yeshiva, he used to talk to his parents and talk to Reuven. And at the same time, Reuven started moving up in terms of the knowledge as well. But I found that in Shimon, what I really found was a tremendous desire to know more, but whatever he learned, he absorbed, and he wanted to do it in the best possible way.
Many people in my class decided to go to public school, back to high school, public school. Even though Rabbi Zalman Deutscher from Yeshiva Institute tried everything possible to keep me in a yeshiva, to get me transferred into a high school yeshiva. He knocked on my door, he called my house, he did everything possible. We just said, sorry, we made our decision, I'm going back to high school. This was the early 90s. Communism ended, and there was a massive migration of Bukharian Jews coming from Uzbekistan into Queens at the time. We're talking about tens of thousands of people.
Coming to a neighborhood that was spiritually a desert. There was no religious people over there. There was 2 shuls left. One was Machneh Chadash, and the other one was a Jewish Queens Center. And we needed to open something for the people that now are in the neighborhood. They were the Bukharian Jews, and they opened Bet Gabriel.
There was many people in the community who was trying to pull Jewish kids off the street into lectures. So one time they stopped me. It was in front of Beit Gabriel in Queens. So I said, nah, not really, not interested. He said, there's gonna be free pizza there. They said, free pizza, sign me up, where do I go? It was an amazing speaker. I had the pizza, of course, as well. I remember listening to those lectures and really having a really good feeling, a really positive feeling about it. And next thing I know, week after week, I was going to these lectures, all those seeds that were planted during those years in Yeshiva Institute, and plus all the new lectures that I'm beginning to listen to began to really have a tremendous impact on me on a personal level in terms of self-growth. I came to a point where I said, you know, these lectures are so powerful, they're so impactful, I have to somehow capture these lectures. I got myself a little audio recorder, which this happens to be the original audio recorder that I started recording lectures, this Samsung model over here.
This is what started it all.
Right, this little guy over here. I started recording lectures, and people used to ask me, do you mind if you make me a copy? Because that was such an amazing lecture, I want to listen to it again. So I started making copies of CDs and giving them out. And in 2001, I got married, Baruch Hashem, and one of the gifts that my parents got me from my wedding gift was a camera. And this actually happens to be this Sony camera over here from 2001. And this camera has a mini DV, the battery's still working.
It's still alive.
Mini DV tapes in here. And this was really not meant for use for recording lectures. They just wanted to get me something to record. You know, my dad did video for so many years growing up. He was into photography, video. I think that's where it comes from.
I think it's in the genes.
You know, for sure. Thanks, Dad. What happened is after a few years of recording with the audio, I started recording with the video with this exact camera over here. Started recording lectures. And again, people came up to me, why are you recording lectures? I'm like, I don't know why. I want to capture this and it's very important. And I started making DVDs of videos of lectures I started recording with this camera.
Beginning of 2005, YouTube came out and I'm like, we gotta get something out there. There's nothing online. There was maybe this one website that had very old Jewish classes. I think it was called 613.org or something like that, but I couldn't find anything with video. And I knew that Shimon kept being asked, can I have some audios? Can I have some videos, CDs and DVDs?
And he's tried to search the entire internet looking for more lectures, and he really had a challenge.
And Baruch Shem, Shimon, over the past few years, because he recorded all these audios and videos, I had some substance, I had some content to kind of throw up on the website in early 2006, and we unofficially launched in March of 2006. It wasn't even called Torah Anytime. It was called kolyakov.org. A play on the family name, and it's a play on the words, Kol Yaakov, the voice of Yaakov. I thought it was just an amazing connection. And then in April, we have about 150, 250 people come on. Next month, 500, 1,000. Then Shimon's like, that's cute and nice and everything, but many people don't know what that means, the voice of Yaakov. So then later on in the year, Shimon is trying to look for some domain names.
The 11th choice was something Torah Anytime. I said, Torah Anytime. And I saw it was available, Torah Anytime. And I said, Ruben, it's available, grab it.
From then on, it just skyrocketed.
And about a year later is when I met Yosef Davis for the first time.
I served in the Israeli military as a short range, not a sniper, but called a sharpshooter with my unit. Trained, lived down in Gaza for about 2 years. After that, you know, my life was pretty open. You know, I was about 20 years old and I was thinking, you know, what's next? What's my next step? Friends of mine from Queens, that I linked up with after Israel, I learned with them in yeshiva. They were learning in the back of a shul on 73rd Avenue. Probably 8 of us sitting around a table. Shimon came in and had a camera there.
Yosef Davis came up to me after that shiur and it says, who are you? Why do you have a camera here? And what are you doing?
And he said, oh, I have a computer store around the corner, and we go record different classes in the community. People who don't have the ability to learn can still experience these amazing words of inspiration and words of Torah.
And Yosef was just amazed and intrigued. And he says, can I get to know more about this organization? Can I work with you guys? I'm like, yeah, we could use some help. We need some more volunteers, I said. We showed him our operations. We asked him, this is the type of help we need.
This is Torah Anytime and Computer Doctor joint collaboration project. And we pulled it off. We surprised him. He has a customer on hold right now. Yeah. But they can wait. It's important stuff.
Thank you, Joey.
And
something clicked in me. I was like, wow, this is the most incredible thing that I've ever heard. This is fantastic.
Yosef has been amazing. It's been one of the biggest blessings in the life of this organization. And we continue to grow. And as the years went on, Hashem sent us more incredible people. Mayor Summers, he's EMT for many, many years, saving people's lives. Then he got on board full-time with Torah Anytime. Moshe Sofer from Brooklyn came on as an incredible volunteer. Almost every member of Torah Anytime started off as a volunteer for a long period of time before they came on board full-time.
I started with them when I was going to Rabbi Finkelman's share in Yeshiva Or Chaim, and there was a camera in the back recording on a regular basis. One morning I noticed the camera wasn't there, because apparently what happened was someone during the davening decided that a camera didn't belong in the base measure during davening. So I told the guy who was recording on a regular basis that if he teaches me how to put the camera together, I'll take care of it for him and bring it back to the office once it's done. Then I noticed that it was taking me quite a while for that to get it uploaded from the time I actually brought the camera back. So I asked him if he'd be willing to let me do the actual recording, the uploading myself. And they said, sure, no problem. They taught me how to upload, and I began uploading. And once they saw I was getting pretty good at it, they said, hey, you mind doing a few more? I said, sure.
One of the things that impressed me very, very much with the volunteers on Torah Anytime that gave me the courage to continue to volunteer was when I met Mayor Summers virtually. And he had a job. He was working in the ambulance, but on the downtime when he did not have calls, he volunteered for hours on end to Torah Anytime to assure all the shiurim going on. Rabbi Wallerstein's shiur sometimes was a scratch here, a scratch there. He would make sure that everything is perfect before it's uploaded. And all that was done in between calls in the back of an ambulance.
One thing about TorahAnytime.com. TorahAnytime.com.
TorahAnytime.com.
I literally get Torah anytime.
At the beginning, Torah Anytime had a very hard time to have everything on time and on schedule. We were a bunch of volunteers running around the streets and trying to scramble things to be able to upload and to do things.
We got incorporated, and there was the website Ruben had built and put it up. We were all just working on it, giving our all, giving our energy. Whatever time we could devote to it, we devoted to it.
In those days, I don't think they had many videographers. Shimon was doing it himself. I would tell him what shul or what school I was speaking at, and he would come with the camera and the video, and that's how he filmed it.
2012, Chesky Koftal from Mishkan Yecheskel, he comes on board, he becomes our co-chairman of the board. He helps us really to take us to uncharted territories in terms of growth.
And the initial concept was quite simple when they came to me. Instead of creating new content, they said, let's just capture what's being said out there.
Before long, we got emails from people. People were telling us, we need more of this. You have to get more cameras. You have to record more people.
My partner, Charles Groh, and I, probably back in around 2016 or so, had the opportunity to meet with the Kol Yaakov brothers. And we loved what we heard.
We realized at that point what this was the beginning of.
All the shiurim that I gave up until then, they were, for the most part, lost. People heard them. It was a one-time sitting.
I gave a shiur in Ar Yitzchak. One day there was a video camera there, and I said, who's this camera for? And they said, there's something called Torah Anytime. I said, Torah who?
I have to tell you the truth, in the beginning, again, I wasn't even sure to say yes or no. It's like two people that come up with an idea. Maybe it's a fantasy, maybe stuff it's never going to happen. All of a sudden we realized that in fact that we've been reaching a tremendous amount of people and an audience that heretofore was quite limited.
And it opened up an entirely different world. And all of a sudden I started getting emails and questions from people all over the world, all over the country.
It's happened to me many times where I'd be walking in the street and a stranger would stop me and say to me, Rabbi, I heard you on Torah Anytime.
I saw you on Torah Anytime.
Hey, wait, I saw you on TorahAnytime.com. And children would tell it to me, men and women. And then I began to realize that they are really hitting a large target audience.
I've got to be very careful what I say now because I don't know who's watching. But in all seriousness, it is quite astonishing how much Torah is learned.
I was impressed with their sincerity. I didn't think that they could pull it off. But one thing is for sure, if they did, I certainly wanted to be part of it. And I felt that they were great, wonderful people with a noble mission in mind. And we see now, after all these years, how right they were and how Hashem really helped them.
It was a very, very hard process to get Rabbeim to come into Torah Anytime because it was on the internet. And the internet is something that was a big battle for a lot of organizations and a lot of people to be allowed to go on the internet back then.
There's no question that one of the greatest problems facing society today, not only Jewish society, is the addiction that millions and millions around the world have to social technology.
We're so isolated today. The more people are on social media, the more they're isolated, the more they don't connect personally with people. And that's why people are so much more depressed. So what's happening over here, the shiurim of people being together, I just all of a sudden connecting with people all over the world.
Here comes Torah Anytime, and it's giving people an alternative that they can go on their computer and they can go on their phones and they could see Torah.
Not everyone has the ability to just withstand it and just fight it. But because of the fact that there's another option out there of meaning, of purpose, that is so big, and I know stories personally of people that told me that because it exists, it has taken them away from looking at things that they know they shouldn't be looking at because they have an opportunity to look at something which is meaningful.
People didn't have smartphones. People weren't so much on the websites, but they took it to other venues. So it was played on the radio. People would download it. In Lakewood, they would produce CDs from it. In different places, in Australia, they would make CDs.
So I remember when they had the get-together talking about the internet. It was in one of the stadiums, I think it was something like 20,000 or 30,000 people there. Who do I find outside? I find Shimon distributing flyers about the internet, distributing flyers about Torah Anytime, which was basically two people with a camera and button-holding people and trying to get people to speak about Yiddishkeit, Shiurim, or whatever it may be.
A potential concern in the earlier days of Torah Anytime that it's wonderful to have a share over the internet that we can watch on our screens, but there's a risk. Is that going to come at the cost of connection to a Rav? And that's not a risk to take lightly. Unexpected, or at least unexpected to me, development is the number of people that actually reach out to the lecturer and through the impersonal aspect of the internet actually forged and developed personal connections that are so valuable.
Technology is here to stay, social media is here to stay, and it's not going anywhere. So our philosophy is you fight fire with fire. And that's one of the reasons we create so many different platforms.
We have to fight the fire of the internet and social media with the fire of Torah.
Shavua Tov, everyone. Rosh Chodesh Tov. Welcome to another edition of Saturday Night at the Kosher Movies.
TorahAnytime.com was an idea strictly from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Sometimes there are people out there who just don't have the desire to read, don't have the desire to leave their house, go to places, go to different lectures. That's why it was a time that God said, you know what, let me give all these Jews Rahmanis, let me give them another way to learn Torah. A lot of people do have computers.
You have to think a little bit into the understanding, what is Pesach all about? Why am I cleaning my car like I'm a sugar, right? And cleaning my house. One of my favorite stories. It's not on TorahAnytime.com yet.
We're trying to make whatever is physical out there, and we're trying to turn it spiritual with the help of God. It's just unbelievable.
We got the Seder. We're the bride. And God is the chassan.
Torah Anytime is continuously growing and growing. The feedback is coming in. My brother and I were looking at ourselves, scratching our heads. How is this happening? How is this so much people using this website, and we're continuing to try to upgrade the website, develop it, make it easier.
As we grew, that necessitated a lot more departments to be formed and to be made, setting up the infrastructure so that we have our T's crossed and our I's dotted.
2012, we came out with the new website. And in 2018, we said, you know what, we have to scale, and the only way to do that is we have to come out with a new version of the website.
Yes, and we were introduced to an incredible company called BitBean, based out of Lakewood, New Jersey, run by a good friend of ours, Ephraim Arnstein.
Yeah, BitBean was kind of a team of like, I think 40 people at that point or so. And they made the introduction to me. And I love the project because I felt that this was an organization that's already successful. It's already been building out there. It's already has a tremendous community of people using it, and they're doing meaningful Torah, and they're spreading meaningful Torah. That's the whole mission of Torah Anytime. So I said, I'm going to take everything I ever was doing, and I'm going to give my company, give BitBean, to devote that BitBean should be there for Torah Anytime to help it through.
Since what we wanted never existed, there was just a lot of challenges along the way.
They wanted a perfect app. They wanted to be able to control, make the perfect experience, no compromises at all. And that's really what we delivered to them.
I built the app. The design was carried out by a very talented designer, Mrs. Fogel. But once she implemented the design, she created the design. I went ahead and implemented those designs, made them a reality.
I was meeting with a client to be working on a binary transcoding system for the Israeli military when a mutual friend reached out about the Torah Anytime app. And I immediately knew this is a project which I wanted to take on. So we collaborated for 12 months, built the app, and after that I joined the team, came on board full time.
Knowing that there's hundreds of thousands, millions of hours really, of Torah being learned because of your efforts is an amazing feeling.
The first major time that I felt like Torah Anytime has a big impact on other people was Tisha B'Av.
On Tisha B'Av, there's literally 24 hours of straight content going for 24 hours around the world.
There's a certain bandwidth. There's X amount of people that could get on at the same time before the website crashes.
I would record part of the kinnis, upload it, and then I would continue to record. And then we found out that every year that the website would go down.
We had to migrate the database, move the old database, which had just completely stopped working. That was an experience that it repeated itself the following year, and then afterwards we decided that enough was enough, and we implemented different fail-safe measures like multiple databases.
And Baruch Hashem, this new website, a new app, has been absolutely revolutionary. And it allows us now to have well over 1 million users a year, no problems. Everything is working smoothly. And even though there's so many functions and so many features on our new website and our new app, the best is yet to come. Many more features and updates and enhancements and upgrades are coming both to the website, to the app. Right now we're hosting well over 200,000 lectures on virtually every topic out there.
And when it comes to technology, we have to understand that things change. New technology comes out. We always have to conform because we always have to be at the forefront to make sure that we're always in people's radar. When mobile phones became popular, we had to come out with the phone system and streaming TV services, etc., whatever it is. So as time goes on, we have to make sure that we're at the forefront to make sure we're always in people's visions.
At this point, Torah Anytime is a world organization. It's based in New York, but it really has reaches all over the world.
People that would never have an exposure to Torah Judaism, to mitzvahs, all of a sudden, they can turn on their computer, they can turn on the app, and immediately they can zero in to a shir in Yiddish, in Spanish, in English, in Russian, in Hebrew. I don't even know the languages that Torah Anytime reaches out in.
The most astonishing thing I find that they don't rest on their laurels. They're going Machayil El Chayil more and more and more. They're harnessing technology for the proper purposes, and the Kadosh Baruch Hu is mezakeh them.
Any person, I really believe, who is seeking to learn Torah can find an area that really appeals to him, and there's a shir for him.
They provide a light to the entire Galus. They invite people from all religious backgrounds to just increase their Torah learning.
It's like Har Sinai, today, it's like this is the beacon. I look at it, this is a radio wave where Torah is spreading throughout the world.
And the thing that I can't get over about Shimon and Ruvain and the whole team is that they don't stop. They always want to reach more.
And they're tireless. It's mamish. I take my hat off to them. I mean, they were zoiche.
What the Kolyakov brothers did with Torah Anytime was harness the medium of technology in a way that had never been used ever before.
We've discussed it many times, the different types of places where we want to promote our material or advertise or anything. Torah Anytime is like shoots to the top of the list because Torah Anytime is exactly the people that we're looking for.
Art Scroll's focus obviously is on the published word. That's what we do. We publish books and svarim. And that's why Torah Anytime is the perfect complement to what we do. What we're doing is via the written word, and what Torah Anytime is via technology.
We're trying to give people the wisdom and the tools that they should be able to improve in their Ben Oram L'Chaveira and how they treat people and their Avos Yisrael and certainly in their Shmiras HaLashon.
Torah Anytime has also given speakers, Magidei Shir, Rabbanim, Rebbetzins, people who have inspiration to shir, a platform to do so where they may have not had that opportunity before.
People that we never knew existed. There are great speakers, great Rabbanim. Some little shul somewhere out in a little town where he has 20 congregants. Today, some of those people have 10,000 listeners on Torah Anytime.
So many speakers have embraced Torah Anytime, and they, their whole career exploded because they were connected to Torah Anytime.
The Jewish people needs more teachers, needs more people out there who could spread what they have to say. Torah Anytime is that platform that enables people who may not even know they have the talent to go out there and produce their talent.
Torah Anytime became a platform that's creating speakers, it's creating leaders.
That's what Torah Anytime is. Torah Anytime is a place for artists of Torah, to be able to put out their Torah.
There are some extraordinary stories about Torah Anytime, and we call those the shock and awe stories, and they're amazing. A life that was saved because someone saw the right message at the right time.
From somebody who is blind living in an apartment in Eretz Yisrael who listens to Torah Anytime every single day, to other people that have ALS or other types of ailments and illnesses.
And then there's what I'll refer to as the bread and butter stories. It's grasping and grabbing hours of Torah here, there, and elsewhere. And that's the bread and butter of Torah Anytime. People listening to shiurim here, shiurim there. And between the hours here and hours there, you have 10, 12 million hours of Torah learned.
I've had people that tell me that basically their entire day, they've never learned Torah before. They didn't do well in yeshiva. They're working now very hard. Today, these people are Talmidei Chachamim and Masmidim simply because of Torah Anytime. A friend of mine is a truck driver. He drives 2 hours to Pennsylvania every day and 2 hours back. He says, I learn for all those 4 hours. And I just know a ton right now simply because of Torah Anytime.
During Corona time, it was incredible what happened at the time. There was a complete lockdown of the world, as we all know, and all the shuls were closed, all the schools were closed, everything was closed. And where are people gonna go? You're gonna go to Torah Anytime. And we were bursting at the seams.
So we would have our cameraman and volunteers actually go to speakers' houses, like stay far away, social distancing while recording them.
I had to go from house to house, rabbi to rabbi, come with a very, very long internet cable to be able to social distance, to clean up everything, to be able to do things that were never in the existence before. It was those dark times that really the growth of Torah Anytime, recognized by almost every single Jewish home in the world, to know that the recordings that they were recording years and years before all of a sudden come to suit and comfort when there's nothing else you could do.
My name is Yonatan Mordechaiv, and Torah Anytime has completely changed my life for the better.
I can't imagine not having Torah Anytime in my life. It occupies many hours of my day.
I was going through something, I fell out of learning, And then I listened to Shir and I got back into learning, and you just keep the fire going. If not for Torah Anytime, I wouldn't really have anything to reignite that fire.
Not a day goes by where I feel like the rabbi I'm listening to is speaking directly to me, to my situation, or whatever it may be.
I started listening to Shiur, and one day my mom comes in and she says, "What are you doing?" And she sees that I'm using Torah Anytime, and then she says, "Hey, I kind of like this," and then she starts exploring other topics on Torah Anytime, and then my father sees that, and he starts exploring things on Torah Anytime, and before you know it, the entire family is watching Torah Anytime and using its resources.
It's really, really hard in the world that we're living today when there's so much media being thrown at us from all different angles.
Our goal at Torah Anytime with social media is to drive traffic back to TorahAnytime.com as a safer and more fulfilling platform than using social media, which is full of distractions and it's growing.
There is so much on the outside today, so much in the secular world. It's very quick. They're learning each day how to reach more people in better ways. We have to keep up. Zel umazeh.
This generation, which is living in a time where there's so many things competing, for our attention. We need all the more of the positive influences and to thwart off all the temptations on the other side.
To be able to have something to battle that is a tremendous, tremendous asset.
Torah Anytime was created as the antidote to all that's going on in the entire world.
So I was on a flight to Eretz Yisrael, and I'm sitting next to someone, and he looks at me and he's staring at me. I already know what that means. So he says to me, I watched your shiur every Thursday night. And I would say, thank you for joining. So he says, it kind of became part of my life. I said, I think that there's a sense we want to belong to people.
There's a famous saying that it provides the we solution to the I problem. That's what we're doing, that people think that it's only something that they're going through. But when you realize and recognize there's other people who are out there that are going through the same struggles and have the same peckle in life that Hashem gave them.
I got a call from a girl. So there was a certain shiur, and when I finished the shiur, I would always say, Bisuros Tovos, B'karov, B'karov. There should be good news, quickly, quickly. I added in B'karov. One time, I didn't say B'karov, B'karov. She mustered up the strength to call me. And she said, Rebbe, can I ask you a question? I know you don't know me and you may not want to answer the question, but you always say B'karov, B'karov. What's the reason that you left it out? I said, no reason. I just didn't add it in every time. She said, could I ask you a personal favor for me? Say B'karov, B'karov. Because when you do, I feel that there's going to be Bisuros Tovos for me, that one day I will get engaged. To know that Torah Anytime can give people chizuk in that way, can tie us all together, can make us one.
The drawing in of people that are alive with a shiur, that are alive, that they have to think, that their lives are changing. That there's a mechayim, there's a proudness. There's just something here. The medium of Torah Anytime is just drawing people together.
My father was diagnosed 18 years ago with Lou Gehrig's disease, which is called in short ALS. ALS is a disease that just locks up a person in his body. My father had to make a decision if he wants to live and survive or just the opposite. He decided that because his brain is functioning, his eyes can see, his ears can hear, even though he can't move and he can't do it, but he can still learn the Heilige Torah, and we were zoiched to find Torah Anytime. Torah Anytime is something that he can take with him when he has a doctor's appointment. He can take with him when he is in the hospital. He made a schedule, a full day schedule, which started 7 in the morning, finishing 11 at night. He was able to Messiah Shas a few times.
It was that day that we had an appointment, and when we arrived to the doctor's office told us the doctor had an emergency. It's gonna still take a couple of hours. So we take out his laptop, when we want to put on some shear on it. And there's when the nurse realized, oh my gosh, I left the plug, the charger, and it's left with no battery in Muncie. When my mother got back, she sees something incredible, where my father's Filipino nurse stands with his iPhone hooked up on the buttons of his shirt, and there is playing Reb Shimon Spritzer on Torah Anytime, and he just said, I couldn't stand and see how Rabbi Weiss has those empty minutes not listening to any shear, so I just went ahead and I put on my phone Reb Shimon Spritzer playing for him, so he was able to listen and join the shear. It's amazing to see how even someone who is not Jewish gets to understand what it means for us to fill in every minute in the day with Torah, Torah, and Torah.
The day I was born, I had a major schia and a major schis that I was born in the sheep, that a whole day there was a Reich Torah and learning. I saw that kept my father alive, and that's the only thing what kept everything alive, the whole house alive.
For my father, it's mama's his second respirator. People are coming in and taking chizik, and it's a chizik for everyone who walks in and sees him learning.
We lived with that phrase that my father always taught us. ALS stands for always live smiling. And my father always used to tell us, I might have ALS, but ALS does not have me.
In the name of my father, I want to give a Kursa Toiv and a thank you for Torah Anytime what they did, that you can always have Shirim 24/6 when you need and where you need, wherever you are. You can have Shirim and live with the Torah where you are going.
I just literally can't tell you how many people, endless amount of people come up to us, many of them that have tears in their eyes, telling us that their whole life is Torah Anytime. They drive with Torah Anytime, they cook with Torah Anytime, they sleep with Torah Anytime, they live on Torah Anytime. So here we are at the Torah Anytime office. Welcome to the headquarters.
Let's check out behind the scenes. What's going on?
Hi, I'm Khani Wakstak. I'm a software developer and project manager at Torah Anytime. And I work on coordinating all the different projects we have. We have usually about 5 things running at one time, so I coordinate who's working on what, when they're doing it, making sure everything gets done on time. Day to day, I'm going through all the different things we have to do. I'm meeting with different members of the team, meeting with Ruben and Shimon, figuring out what needs to get done, what will get done tomorrow, what's getting done today. I meet with the designers, I meet with the developers.
My name is Racham Sagev. I'm the assistant office manager. What I do is that I assist them with whatever they need to do, whether it's by putting up lectures as well as sending out the daily dose, which you see with this phone. This is the actual dose phone we send out the daily dose with on WhatsApp. It's a job that I love and I cherish very much, and I was told that if you love your job, you haven't worked a day in your life.
One of the things I do here is I manage all the editing, recording, and uploading here at that goes on at Torah Anytime.
When a lecture gets recorded on Torah Anytime and it gets sent to us, it has to go through many different steps to get finally posted on Torah Anytime. And to build a system like that was a very complicated situation for the software development team.
A lot of people don't know what really goes on behind the scenes. They don't really understand that it's not just about downloading the app, turning it on, and all of a sudden you have hundreds of thousands of shiurim. There's people that have to record these shiurim, they have to get uploaded, transcoded.
There's the intro, the outro, there's the watermark, there's a different conversions to the correct quality depending on the speed of the internet of the user. There's the audio only version as well. Many times we have to enhance the audio to make sure it sounds good. Many times we have to crop the video as well to make sure the framing is right.
And it all ends up nicely in your app. All feels like there's nothing going on, but really there's a lot going on behind the scenes in order to get it there. Not to mention the Torah Anytime team that's really on top of their game in terms of the quality.
Torah Anytime has about 300 cameras worldwide at this point, where all this equipment needs maintenance, all this equipment needs upgrading from time to time. They get older and the technology changes and we replace them with newer technology. And anytime we do these changes, we have to train all the volunteers as well how to use it.
You have companies like YouTube or WhatsApp. You might wonder, they have a working product. Why are there hundreds and hundreds of software developers working round the clock for YouTube or for WhatsApp? Because technology never ends and we have to keep up with this technology. And Baruch Hashem, now we have our own in-house developers. As we're making this video, we have about 6 software developers. We have 2 UX designers and many more graphic designers, assistants, office managers.
Currently, we have about, I'd say, 800, 900 regular speakers in the site. And we basically work with them on getting the proper set of equipment, how to get their training, how to set that equipment up, and how to start recording properly.
All these things are kind of in the flow of just recording one class. And they have to either send it to us or they upload it themselves.
Many people don't realize that there's many fees associated with running Torah Anytime. For example, the 200,000 plus lectures that we have in our storage, we pay storage fees for that to host those lectures.
And we have to make sure that the servers are working properly, make sure we don't crash because of the influx of people that overloads the website. That's why we also want to make sure that it's scalable so we could handle 1,000, 100,000, even 1 million people on the website at any given moment.
You're talking about literally hundreds of thousands of people sometimes at the same time watching long classes and videos.
One of the departments we have here in the organization is convention recordings. We have basically become the go-to place for people for recording conventions.
I sometimes am overwhelmed by how active and proactive Torah Anytime is in getting our message across.
So when I start planning the convention, one of the first calls I have to make in the effort to reach the greatest numbers in Klal Yisrael is Torah Anytime. We reached an audience this year of probably over 100,000 households tuning in live to the convention.
It first hit me how valuable Torah Anytime is for our conventions and large programs when a friend of mine reached out to me on a Sunday morning of a convention and said, "Wow, what great classes last night." And I said to him, "You were here? How come I didn't see you?" He said, "No, I watched it on Torah Anytime."
I must say, there are many times at the convention where I go to sleep and Meir is still up late at night working on editing the videos, making sure the internet connection is working, making sure all the audios, videos are up online and are attached also to the phone line. Torah Anytime helps us take the message of the Gedolim from the 4 walls of the convention center to the greater Klal Yisrael across the world.
It's like turning your convention from a 1,000-person convention to a 1,000,000-person convention in one click of a button.
Back in 2015, we went to the Project Inspire convention, and it was a very snowy day. And I remember that I had all 8 cameras in my car, and it was Motzei Shabbos, and I'm driving up there right after Shabbos finishes, and it's snowing, and I could barely see anything, and I'm driving on the road with somebody else. And everyone's waiting for me because everyone's already at Project Inspire convention.
They need the cameras.
And they need the cameras, exactly. So I had to get off a ramp, and I didn't see the sidewalk on the ramp, and it was snowing, it was covered with snow. And I went probably 50 miles an hour into that sidewalk and it busted my tire. So now I have 5 minutes until I actually have to get to the convention. And I'm like, what do I do? And I can't stop. I want to go with the speed and momentum. So I just keep going with a flat tire in the snow while it's blizzarding. Wow. And then I'm getting off and I'm driving. All of a sudden I see a bunch of lights coming at me. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I think I'm going the wrong way. So then I quickly do a U-turn on the road and I go, and Baruch Hashem, I made it.
With the U-turn?
So you see, it's not easy to make sure we get everything where they're supposed to be.
We take this job very seriously, as you see, Baruch Hashem.
Torah Anytime team, besides Shimon and Reuven, developed around a group of literally dedicated people with Mesiras Nefesh that will go rain or shine to make sure to get into the shuls, to get this equipment up, to record, to edit, and then to manage the back end of a very complicated back end.
They don't stop. Mayor Summers, I had a problem one time, 11:30. I just called him up, a technical problem. I said, Mayor, could you tell me how to fix it? He says, just wait for a moment. I felt he was probably too busy, couldn't answer it. About 20 minutes later, the bell rings. Mayor Summers walks into this room and says, could I be of help?
Yosef is a team builder. He's someone who I think he's an organizer And he was able to work with us to actually land this idea and execute and help us build.
I spoke to the heads of Torah Anytime, and they said, you just tell us where your shir is. Often, I don't need to tell them. They know before I do. But you just tell us where your shir is, we're going to have a camera there.
I come to Yitzchak to record a shir by Rabbi Rosenfeld, and the doors are locked. We tried every window available to try to see if we could get into the Beis Medrash. We found one window that was a little bit quite high to be able to get and not much where to grasp. A few people helped me to be able to get onto a supported place. Was able to go in, open the door, recorded the shir. There was very few attendancy because it was a cold Thursday night. And that shir showed Rabbi Rosenfeld and myself how the consistency is key to be able to grow.
Their heart is so full of a will to get Torah out there, it just pours over from there. I think that's what's so beautiful about Torah Anytime. It's not an organization, it's not a company, it's not a corporation, it's just people that want to get Torah out there.
So besides for the TorahAnytime.com website and the mobile app, we wanted to kind of get more with the times and go with people's attention spans.
Which has been pretty low these days.
Very low, actually.
Yeah.
What did you just say?
What?
Just kidding. So we actually had to come out with a new program, a new project called the Daily Dose Project, where everyone can get their daily dose of Torah learning.
The Daily Dose is one of my favorite things. It's incredible. It's short, it's positive, and they have a sentence at the end. They have beautiful music. Whoever does that is a master.
Creating these daily doses is not an easy task. We have to go through hours and hours and hours of lectures looking for the perfect part of the lecture that we think is going to be a daily dose. Then the next step is, of course, to add all the overlays to it. And then it goes to the next step, which is Yisrael Ament, our very talented musical director, who, again, many times plays the custom music for these daily doses. And then it goes into the next department, which is ready for takeoff. Rachmim Segev, who's a big part of the Daily Dose team. So it's a team effort of about 4 people to get these daily doses out. And if someone who gets it and watches it, they wouldn't even know that. They wouldn't understand all the details behind the scenes.
Hi, my name is Yisrael Ament. I do the Daily Dose for Torah Anytime. I put the music together. I have the clips and I create the soundtrack. Sometimes I'll add the music. Sometimes I'll find pre-existing soundtracks to match the vibe of the dose. So depending on like if it's an emotional dose or if it's like dynamic, if it's passionate, I have to cater, find the right music that would be congruent with the theme and emotion of the dose.
Currently, over 40,000 people are getting the daily doses every single day, and on many platforms as well.
That's right. We actually started about 4 years ago on WhatsApp. We sent out WhatsApp broadcast messages to almost 40,000 people. And then Baruch Hashem, about a year later, we came out with an email broadcast. And then we added it to podcasts, and we added it to Naki Radio. And we added it to Instagram and Facebook and all these different ways. And finally, after so many times, people asking us, how can we get all the daily doses from the beginning?
So Baruch Hashem, we started the Daily Dose app, which is of course available on the App Store and on the Android Play Store as well.
That's right, you download it, it's the Torah Anytime Daily Dose app. You have access to all of the doses from number 1, each one with its own very powerful message.
It takes work, and Baruch Hashem, we are more than happy to do this work.
Yes, and we see the feedback that comes in is really tremendous. It's phenomenal.
Many people send us feedback, especially from the daily doses, of how it was so important that they heard the dose that day because they were going through a very difficult time in their life. They might be going through some depression situation. There might be some type of a situation at home with family or many other personal things that people are going through, especially in today's day and age. And many people tell us that the daily dose came at the perfect time. It's exactly what I needed to hear today.
It's really incredible because there are some people that tell us that they haven't spoken to their friend for over 10 years. And after they got touched, they got inspired by a 2-minute clip, was able to take those 10 years and do teshuvah on it pretty much. So the person actually called up their friend and they made up. And Baruch Hashem, that's the power of the Daily Dose and Torah Anytime.
We realized that there was an issue with having only internet-based shiurim. So we had to come up with an idea to be able to have a hotline connected to it. So like this, a lot of people would not have the excuse that they need the internet to listen to the shiurim.
That was great. The phone system was amazing. It just shows how everyone is doing things Dei L'Shem Shamayim. That this is not a way of capturing the internet or getting people to say, well, I got to go online because how am I going? You're going to listen to any shiur you want. It's there and it's clear.
Over 2 million calls, a year are happening to Torah Anytime. You can call in. You know what? I don't even want to make a phone call. All right. So they come out with newsletters which giving beautiful stories, beautiful ideas that a person goes ahead and can get so much out of it.
Baruch Hashem, we have so much content, and we have such a talented writer, Elon Perchik, who works with Torah Anytime for many years now.
Back in 2016, I remember the day, it was a Tuesday, and I had sent Torah Anytime an email asking if they would like to feature stories or create some type of newsletter. And I got an email back from Yosef Davis, the director of Torah Anytime, and he said, Rabbi Ilan, let's get on a call. And here we are years later, and the newsletter has found a home to many families around the Shabbos table.
And these newsletters are going out to over 120,000 subscribers a week.
And we actually get a lot of feedback from people reading those newsletters on Shabbat.
That's
and really
right.
enjoying it with the family, taking turns. We have about 3-4 articles per newsletter.
They take great speeches and great content and put it in writing for me to use at the Shabbos table, both at the Shabbos table, but also for my own inspiration.
It takes finding the right blend and mix of stories to present in the Torah Anytime newsletter. It's something that takes thought as far as to what can really reach the wide variety and range of readers, because thinking about putting something at the Shabbos table, it's meant to be something that is palatable, and those who would read it says this resonates with me, that it's not just 24/6, 24/7, where Torah Anytime is providing you with the content to uplift your Shabbos.
Baruch Hashem, we decided to actually create a book, the Daily Dose book, where we take select daily doses, and our talented writer Elon Perchik writes it up, and it's a combination of 25 to 30 different speakers. And we were writing this book, ready to get it released, and we were 80% done with it. And our dear friend, Rabbi Zachari Wallerstein Zatzal, unfortunately passed away. So we had to put that project on hold, and we quickly scrambled to write a book on the incredible Divrei Torah, the Musar, and the stories of our dear friend, Rabbi Wallerstein Zatzal.
It's all about change, from Rabbi Zachariah Wallerstein. And just looking at this book, looking into his eyes, I still miss him. I still miss Rabbi Wallerstein. He was a trailblazer in the Jewish world, and just had a heart of gold.
There's over 100 chapters in it, and after every chapter, there is a QR code where you could scan with your smartphone, and it will take you to the video of Rabbi Wallerstein giving over what you just read. And in a very short time, we have almost 20,000 copies of this book sold already. And of course, it's available on feldheim.com or your local bookstores as well.
This is just one of the ways in which at Torah Anytime we can broaden our reach and touch others' lives with the written word, in addition to the video clips.
This is going to be the first of many, many books over the years that we want to put out, because Baruch Hashem, we have the content, we have the talented writers, we have the marketing, we have the teams in place to make this happen.
So Torah Anytime today is not just a website, not just the mobile app, not just the daily dose, not just all that you've heard, and not just the written word. It's for you.
And it just makes sense. Like you said, we have practically unlimited content from so many amazing speakers. And it's very important for everyone to really be touched, to really be affected, be inspired by all that content, whether they watch it, whether they listen to it, or whether they read it. So B'ezrat Hashem, you're going to be seeing a lot more Torah Anytime books coming out in the very near future.
Another incredible project of the Torah Anytime universe is a platform called Chesed Anytime.
Chesed Anytime really is a very simple concept. We basically post anytime somebody needs a chesed, they need help with anything that they might be. They might need advice, may need a ride, they may need help getting a package, or the assistance with anything really. And it could be a Yid from the other side of the world will see that status and be able to help.
Throughout the week, there are dozens and dozens of Chasadim opportunities that are matched together.
I always wanted to find some way to just be involved in Chesed. It was something that was always on my mind. And then Torah Anytime came along, and I see how amazing Torah Anytime is, and it's also something that I always wanted to be a part of on some level. It's just mind-blowing. It's just amazing.
It's amazing how Chesed Anytime is being used for people who are losing things, and other people around the world actually find them and call up the owners and let them know, along with many other Chasadim that are done all around the world.
There was one time there wasn't enough people to dance at a wedding. They put an announcement, we need some people to dance at a certain wedding for whatever reason. If someone needs a minyan at a kaver of a loved one, they want to say Kaddish. Another department that Torah Anytime has started is called Rebbe Anytime. It is a special platform designed to help yeshiva boys with their Gemara and Mishnayos.
The idea of the Rebbe Anytime program is not to replace the Rebbe, but everyone has a different situation. Some kids, they can't review it at night, they can't go it over with their father, or they can't have a tutor, and almost no one can get it perfect the first time around. Even an adult, you have to review it. So here's a way that the kids could review it in a way that they could really understand it, and sometimes they could hear something a little different, that now they'll get it.
There's so many children in so many schools that the parents, for whatever reason, can't teach them the Gemara or study the Gemara with them. And Torah Anytime is getting the best Rebbes in the country to teach those Gemaras, whether it's Shnai Moichsin, Elam Metzias, Hamafkid, those kind. And I'm sure that they're going to do it with animations or something like that. They'll leave it to Torah Anytime. They'll figure out how to do it. And Chumash, the same thing. So look at that. You're able to have a Rebbe in your own home.
Kids could understand anything if you could break it down for them in enough steps. And what I try to do is break it down for the kids in bite-sized pieces that they could understand it, put it on their level, make it like a story that's enjoyable to hear, and they'll actually enjoy Gemara.
And of course, Rebbe Anytime won't just be on the computer, on the internet, it won't just be on the app, but also it's going to be on a hotline. There's going to be a special dedicated number for Rebbe Anytime, and even USB drives to send over to families who have computers but don't have internet.
The fact that Torah Anytime started this project, Rebbe Anytime, is a testament to their mission to make Torah accessible to all Jews.
Another platform that Torah Anytime has is called Yeshiva Anytime. And what Yeshiva Anytime is basically much higher level learning from Rosh Yeshivas, from Gedolim, more Lumdish type Shiurim. Someone who wants to go be'in on the sugya, on the Gemara.
Into the depths of halacha and Gemara.
That's right, that's Yeshiva Anytime.
They didn't have to do it, they're already doing so much. There's already so many millions of hours being learned on Torah Anytime. That's enough. But the Kol Yaakov brothers, they don't want to stop, and they really want to make Torah accessible to every single Jew.
Torah Anytime and the Torah Anytime platforms are great for people who know about Judaism, who are frum. But what about the 80% of the Jews in the world who are not observant? Baruch Hashem, Torah Anytime has a platform called Jewish Anytime.
The idea was, how can we bring the amazing product of Torah Anytime to the entirety of the Jewish world? We sought out to make a product that every single Jew, no matter what their background is, no matter if they have a limited background, no matter if they're disenchanted with the Jewish people, no matter if they're disenchanted with Judaism, we sought out to make a platform, to make a product that every Jew could go to anytime and feel comfortable with, and feel that it was a platform that was speaking to them.
And it's very important, actually, for someone who's being introduced to Judaism to really know the foundation of Judaism. There's so many questions I'm sure people have. How do I know this and how do I know that? Really the basics and the foundations. And that's what Jewish Anytime is going to be all about, really to answer those questions that people are asking.
Something that's alive doesn't stay in one place. Just the way it is. Mitzvah, Gereris, Mitzvah.
All of a sudden, we see Torah Anytime involved with Chesed, involved with all types of mentor programs for people who are in stress.
They're always finding new and creative and innovative ways to take what they have, find opportunities or holes, and they fill that with Torah.
And when you're doing something l'shema, it just doesn't stay put. It just keeps growing. Who was it that said if you don't grow, you're going backwards? I think that's what's happening over here. It's like mitzvah goreres mitzvah.
We have very big goals for Torah Anytime, and we're always thinking about the future. Our goal was to reach 12 million hours a year. We worked on that for 4 years. We were pounding the pavement, running, as fast as we can towards that goal in a controlled and in a smart way. And Baruch Hashem, this past year we hit it. We hit that goal, and now we have a goal of 20 million hours a year.
One of the dreams we have at Torah Anytime is to build our very own Torah Anytime studios to create incredibly high quality, high level content. And B'ezrat Hashem, like all the other dreams we've had over the past decades, B'siyata D'Shmaya, Hashem, please give us a bracha that we should have that dream come true.
Torah Anytime is really, I think, today one of the biggest game changers in Klal Yisrael. It is, as I said, responsible for the Torah of thousands of people, literally thousands of people that were not able to learn or didn't learn beforehand.
Reuben and Shimon Kol Yaakov truly don't even have an off switch. I mean, they're always coming up with new ideas, new programs, and they bring these programs to Klal Yisrael.
What is the key to their success? How is one zocher to such a thing, to spread Torah throughout the entire world? I believe the key to their success is, number one, the siyata d'shmaya. Number two, their anava, their humility. Number three, they are not looking for kavod or money. Believe you me, they are not becoming rich from Torah Anytime. Everything is done l'shem shamayim. And when you do something l'shem shamayim, shamayim is there to help you along.
It's just a testament to the fact that when you have passionate people getting together with the same goal and the same vision, working for Kadosh purposes and really working for the Klal, there's no limit. There's no limit to what can happen.
As we mentioned earlier, my parents grew up in a communist country. They didn't know much about the Torah Judaism. After the passing of my grandfather in 2005, my father started to come to shul, started to say Kaddish, and started to listen to lectures on Torah Anytime. And Baruch Hashem, long story short, today it is almost impossible to pull my father out of the Beit Midrash. He loves to go there, he loves to daven, he loves to learn. And my mother, Baruch Hashem, she's reading Tehillim, she's going to all the classes, and Baruch Hashem, that they also came back. And Stalin and Lenin are rolling in their graves.
I could never have imagined in those days what it would become. That my dear friend Shimon, he's like a brother to me. What he and Reuben, what Yosef Davis would do throughout the world with that Torah Anytime. Those humble beginnings, Hashem saw them and said, these people have to be matzliach.
People see the end product. People are not aware truly how much koyach and how much power and how many hours really goes into it to be able to bring it out onto the world. And the same thing, person gets the comfort of his home, he opens up either his computer or he simply dials the phone number and so on and so forth. And the idea is, okay, it is here. In a certain sense, sometimes in people's mind, it becomes sort of like a fixture. Nobody thinks twice when you go, and turn on the switch and the light goes on.
They display such a respect for what they do, such a reverence. They don't take it for granted that they are the conduit to bring messages of inspiration, messages of Torah, messages of chizuk to the public.
There's so many things that are coming out from Torah Anytime that are bettering and giving the ability for the Jewish people to work on themselves and develop themselves and get closer and closer to Hashem, which is really the goal. Their original slogan used to be, God's reason for the internet. Not sure if they still use that, but I think it's a very powerful idea and a very powerful line.
We need to be in the action as Torah Jews and to put the Torah out there to the world. The Mechemto Shel Torah is happening over here.
Some organizations, they grow by design. There's a hierarchy, there's a structure, you have a board, you have everything that needs to be put in place. The great organizations where there's passionate and involved people that say there's a problem, we got to solve this, and work very hard to make sure that it happens, to get it done. But we have a responsibility standing side by side with all the other great organizations in Klal Yisrael, and doing our job and doing our duty is really mission-based, and we have a responsibility to our donors, to our volunteers, to our speakers, and to our users. And like any great relationship, it's a two-way street. It goes both ways.
Baruch Hashem, as long as Mashiach is
not here yet, Bezrat Hashem, he should come soon.
Amen.
As long as he's not here yet, then we still have missions to do. We all have missions to do. That includes you as well. You could be a part of the Torah Anytime team simply by spreading the word of all of our platforms and getting the word out there.
We all have talents, we all have abilities. And one of the things that we can do with that is we can give back to others. God has given us so much that we can do.
Everyone has their part in the cloud to do something for the cloud. Even if you take upon yourself to be the camera person of one lecture a week, you have a hand in the 12 million hours plus the Torah Anytime is spreading.
And it's a way in which you can give back from the things that God has granted you, the gifts that you have, and you can share that with the world. And Torah Anytime is a home, is a family where this can thrive.
You could be a regular you, and there's different ways. If you donate to Torah Anytime.
My goal with Stories to Inspire is to promote Torah Anytime as much as I can, whether it's promoting specific shiurim, promoting Torah Anytime in general. We're both looking for inspirational content, so we try to help each other.
If you send a link to a friend of a shir that inspired you, that's being a Marbitz Torah. You are spreading Torah in Hashem's world.
But whatever it is that you decide, reach out to Torah Anytime, and I'm very confident that there will be something that we can do together to help shape the landscape of Torah Judaism today.
Over 12 million hours of Torah learning. Just thinking about that is just incredible. You have an opportunity to join them and become a part of Torah Anytime.
It does not happen by itself, but there's a lot of koyach going in, and therefore certainly those who support it is tremendous chus to be able to do that.
Whatever an individual could give, they will have the single greatest chus in this world. There is nothing greater.
I don't believe in nonprofit organizations. The question is the currency of the profit. In business, the currency might be money. In this organization, the currency of investing in this organization is millions of hours of Torah. I'm an investor. This is the best investment I've ever made.
You'll be reaping the dividends for years, both here and in the Olam Emes.
אבא שלי החזיק שכל אחד יש לו חיוב ולך תוכל בדרך ללמוד בדרך. אז זה קשה את זה. אבל היום שיש התורה טיים, אתה נוסע בקר, אתה כל היום, אתה יכול לשמוע תורה כל היום. אתה יכול כל התורה היום לקבל בתורה טיים. יש גדולי ישראל מכל הצדדים. ואתם מקיימים עוד דבר אם אתם שומעים את התורה טיים. בדרך, אז חוץ מלימודת תורה, שומע כהנה. אם שומעים דרושה זה כמו שלומדים, זה אותו הדבר. זה מחייב אותנו, רבותיי, כולנו ניקח את זה 24 שעות, לשמוע. תצליחו, אני אוהב אתכם, בי חזק ושמח, גמליאל הכהן רבינוביץ', מי יהיה ירושלים מאחד, מאלף אלופים ואלפי רבובס אנשים שמכניסים שם בתורה. תצליחו.
Even though we spread well over 12 million hours a year, over 1 million users a year, we feel like we're just getting started. Sometimes people ask me, do you do Torah Anytime full-time? I'm like, no, more than that. Torah Anytime is actually my entire life. Baruch Hashem, my brother and I and the Torah Anytime team, we live, we breathe, we bleed Torah Anytime.
And I'll be there with you right from the beginning. I don't know if it'll work. Only Hashem knows. But it's certainly a wonderful idea. You should be gebenched.